All right, so I don't even know how to introduce you, man, because um, I have on my notes here God the musician. So if
Right,
God was a musician, it would be you. So
right.
uh, welcome to the Drink O'Clock podcast. My
Thanks for
name's
having
Rob
me.
Valencius. Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Welcome to the podcast. Everybody listening, I have. So what do you go by? Is it just God?
God, yeah,
All
yeah.
right, all right, cool. So I've got with me a fantastic musician. I was listening to your album on Spotify. Definitely going to talk a little bit about that. But welcome to the podcast, brother.
Thank you for having me. Uh,
Yeah, man, absolutely.
yeah. I also thank you for saying you don't know how to introduce me, right? Because one thing that I've been trying to sort of get away from is like this world is like so quick to like box you in to something. So like oh you're God, oh you're a rapper, and it's like no, I'm not a rapper. I'm God and I happen to rap, and I'm God and I happen to play basketball, and I'm me and I happen to enjoy like boxing, right? But like the world tries to keep you in one lane. So I'm glad that you didn't know how to announce me, because I would rather have that than being stuck in one label. Because you introduce me as a rapper, and everybody's minds go, "Oh, he probably thinks like this, or he probably thinks like that," and I don't want any of those like preconceived notions or whatever. And
I
no,
actually, in my notes, I
no,
have you, by the way, as a musician. I didn't have you as
yeah,
a rapper.
thank you,
I
thank
had you
you,
as a musician because I feel
yeah,
like
yeah,
listening to your shit,
thank you.
it kind of, you had a bunch of different
Uh
vibes.
huh.
So for me, I try not to put people in that box because I've interviewed rappers, musicians, country guys, like a little bit of everything, and they always kind of do things differently than your standard shit, you know?
Right. Yeah, my bad. I kind of zoned out for a second. I was thinking about something, but no, thank you. I do agree. I mean, I've got the country song, and it's like you hear that, and at first you may think like what, but like it's not what it sounds like. It's like it's a different type of vibe for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look, I don't know if you're drinking. I don't even know how old you are, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna drink.
Oh yeah,
Unfortunately,
I almost forgot.
I ran out of my normal shit that I drink for. And I was so busy today at work,
Yeah.
so I couldn't drink my patented old fashioned. So I'm drinking cream soda and Captain and Morgan, which is a fucking delicious concoction. If you ever
Man,
had a chance to try it.
facts. I actually forgot my drink, and it's crazy, but like I just smoked about a hour or two ago. Also, by the way, God is no religious affiliations. So yeah.
Well, good, because that's what we're going to get into first. I want to talk a little bit about what got you to where you are now. So, talk to me a little bit about where you came up with your God
Mhm.
ideal, right? And like your image, your persona, and kind of what made you love music. And we'll kind of start there, you know? Because your music's great.
Thank you.
I've seen some of your YouTube stuff, so I know people will talk about the internet and fucking trolls and shit
Right.
because I get plenty of them too. But hit me with the early God lifestyle, man.
The early God lifestyle. Okay.
Yeah, who was he? Who was he as a young buck?
When I okay. Well, I thought you were meaning so when I was being introduced into God, like when I was like realizing it, but as a when I first got onto the planet. I don't know. Me, I've basically been the same. I guess my entire existence here, as far as I can recall. I guess the only differences is I navigate myself better, and I navigate through the world better, if I could even say that, right? Um, but yeah,
You're gonna get older and older, and you're gonna think and life's just gonna be like, nah, boop, and you're gonna be like, fuck, I thought I was, like doing what I needed to do, and life's a weird thing. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
yeah, no, no, I definitely feel that, like, yeah, coming for you. But Yeah, that's like I'm speaking of that too, like older and older. When you say that, are you speaking from the like mental perspective, or are you speaking from like a perspective like a calendar? Because I think the two both have their importance, but I think and they both have their uses, but I don't think we should rely as heavily on the calendar one as we should the mental one, because I think your mental growth is far more, or your mental age, if you will, is far more important than what your calendar says, because you can be the most ignorant person on the planet and be 90 years old, right? So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're right. I guess when I think of age, um, because I just turned 37, so when I think of age, I'm a young 37. But I did
But
have
that
to
stuff
grow up
isn't real
early.
though, like regardless. Like
Yeah,
because it's like, but so and like that's it's a part of like indoctrination, right? Like uh one thing that a lot of people don't recognize in this world is we sort of live and exist the way that we've been given by the people who I guess rule over us, right? So we sort of look at the world from the perspective that they've crafted for us, and because of that, it's very difficult to see outside of that because anytime you try to stray into a different perspective or into a different mind space or mind field, uh, they've they've indoctrinated and taught the people to call to call those things that you do crazy or insane or different. Like when Ye walks around without shoes, and you guys get on the news, they get on the news and harass him and call him mentally ill and mentally insane simply because he's choosing to walk around in socks, which is something that he has the right to do, but it's outside of the indoctrination that everybody in America receives, right? Because each region of the world is indoctrinated differently. Because like the truth is like you're not born with socks, you're not born with shoes, right? So like the goofy or the funny thing or the thing that really stands out amongst nature is wearing any type of clothing at all or shoes, right? But it's kind of difficult. It's been difficult for people to see that because of the indoctrination. And I say that like it's the same thing with like the way you look at your lifespan and your age and calendar and things like that. Like they compartmentalize everything, and that's really dangerous because it takes your mind and it like traps it. And extreme examples are like when people like meet me or occasionally people used to ask me, are you Republican or Democrat? Are you conservative or liberal or whatever? And I'm like, bro, like that stuff's not real. And they couldn't grasp what I was saying. And what I meant by that is like, bro, that stuff's not real. Like that stuff is only relevant in today's America or in like outside of America, Democrat and Republican is damn near irrelevant because it's fake, right? It's like so the same thing goes with like the structure of time and all of that. Like that stuff doesn't actually exist. In 200 years time what we consider, there's no guarantee that they'll be using the calendar that we use today, which is called the Gregorian calendar, right? And China doesn't even use the same calendar, right? So that's already right. That shows you like if it's real, you can't have two. Or let me slow down with that. But like if it's like if it's real, it's man-made structures, right? Like it's all like man-made structures, and it's in societal. It's societally bound. Um, and
yeah,
it
dude. I've
yeah.
talked about this on the podcast, and obviously you talk about the powers that be, right? And they just want everybody on Earth to be slaves, right? And you can see
Essentially.
that in think about grade school, right? Do they really teach you
But you're free though,
anything that
right?
you're
You have freedom, don't you? Land of the free, home of the brave. If
yeah,
you
but
run down the street and you ask somebody, freedom in America, freedom in America, right? But you know
yeah.
why they say that? It's the indoctrination. Because the thing about it is, what a lot of people don't realize is like, yeah, you're free, you have freedom, you have an Uncle Sam approved version of freedom, or a Mother Russian approved version of freedom, or a Kim Jong approved version of freedom. You only have as much freedom as your ruling class allows you to believe that you have. Notice I said believe, right? Because beliefs, like your mental is crazy, right? Your mental is one of the most important things that you have, which is why so many people fight for it. That's why people market to you. That's why companies market to you. That's why they try to figure out ways to get into your head and to get into your mind. If they can like alter the way you think about things or move about things, then they can control you, right? And it's like in the force, like it's like when you notice an awakening in the force, it's like you can recognize when people begin to leave those, and like the further from those constraints and shackles that they get, sometimes the more they stand out, sometimes in like outlandish ways or sometimes in ways that aren't even like uh anywhere, like, or some ways like mine, like I guess like I stand out like everywhere I go. But I stand out because I'm me, right? And I'm very well put together, right? So it's like I look perfect, if you will. um but I stand out. It's And other people stand out like they are dancing half naked in the middle of the street, which again, by the way, also shouldn't really be
Hey,
it shouldn't be a problem, right? Like,
do what you got to do.
yeah, but but it also depends. Yeah, I guess, like, yeah. But again, like,
But
there's still like common sense. Like, come on, bro. Like, there's some things that you feel me.
yeah, no, I mean, I'm not trying to see dicks everywhere. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. That's like the last
Well,
thing I want to see.
I
But
but again, that's also like due to this time. If we were born in a different society, we wouldn't have that. Like, if we grew up nudist and that's all you knew, you would not be saying that, because that's a perspective that you would have been used to. Which is why I tell people, like, it's so dangerous how much control they have over the way you guys think about things and the way you look. Like, you guys believe that like your feelings and your thoughts and emotions are your own, but they're indoctrinated and they come from you from society, right? Um, uh, like when you're sad, right? Or when you get broken up with or something like that, they tell you to feel sad. They tell you need to cry. They associate that, right? Or they associate rain and with dark gloominess and things like that. So people, when it's raining, everybody's down, but it's like, nah, like, fuck that. I like the rain. Like I even said in my song, but I love the rain. So bring it, right? So I like, but it used to be, man, I don't know. It's like it's so deep. Like it's so like how much of a hold that they've got on just like the smallest things that you wouldn't think they've got like a grip on, bro. So like it becomes like fighting for like what is actually you versus like it's crazy, bro. Like wisdom and knowledge and understanding and all of that stuff is wild.
yeah, and that's what I was saying about like grade school, right? Like they don't teach you things in life that you're actually gonna use,
Well,
right?
no, they do. They teach
How to
you.
budget. Do they
Well,
teach you how to budget?
no, that's fake.
Absolutely not.
That's no, that's fake anyway, bro. That's like for the life-size version of Monopoly they indoctrinate you into playing, which is what school is for, right? They teach you how to operate in society in a way that is beneficial to Uncle Sam or to whatever society is teaching you, right? So for instance, and they if you break one of their laws, they punish you and they show you from a young age, do what we say. If you step outside of these bounds, boom, this will happen or this will happen, right? That's what they do in schools, whether it be a Catholic school, right, where like maybe in a Catholic school, girls aren't allowed to wear dresses or something, and if you do, boom, you get scolded. Or like regular public schools have their own. Like most of us have been in regular public school, so I don't need to go too deep into that. I don't need to dive too deeply into that, right? So
Fun.
that's what
Public school is
it's
a lot of
camps.
fun.
Yeah, bro. And you know what? It's crazy too. Like speaking, because we're coming up like school in America, right? Because obviously global audience and global world, right? In America, school is starting up again, and I feel like really terrible for like those poor human beings that are being forcefully indoctrinated into a system. And the crazy thing that I notice is like the more time that you spend in the system, the more heavily indoctrinated a lot of times you are if you're not mentally resilient. And I noticed, I was like, because I was like, why do the kids behave so different, or why do the little ones behave different than the bigger ones? It's like, oh, they're not as heavily indoctrinated yet. That's why you'll see like toddlers or things do like crazy things that like, oh, you shouldn't do it, but it's like it's the indoctrination. Because a lot of the time, some of the things that like we see like people do or whatever, like things that we see other people do, like it could be specific to their regional indoctrination, right? Which is why like Americans behave like Americans, Russians behave like Russians, Californians behave like Californians, Texans behave like Texans, right? New Yorkers behave like New Yorkers, right? It's all based off of like their societal indoctrination. So like there's umbrellas, and then there's smaller specks in between. And then you can even take it to other boxes that have been created, like race and religion and skin tone and gender and sex and all these other and all these other things, right? And you can just, it's like, I don't know, like I guess I went a little bit too far because my mind is starting to overload.
Nah, I mean you're right, dude. They want division, right? And they want workers.
I wouldn't necessarily say that's what they want, but that's definitely what we have. But I will say this, because I don't want to say you're incorrect, but I do know that like it does appear to me that there is people who actually, we know for a fact that there's people who will bend things or create things to create discomforts to make things work for them. Like you know what I always found interesting is like why Christians love to lean so heavily on the Bible, even though they've told us to our faces that it's been doctored. Like King Henry, when he wanted to have more wives, The Catholic Church said no, so he updated the Bible to say that he could marry more, right? So like they blatantly told us like, oh yeah, we've edited this book over time, but Christians still stick to it. And that like goes that just also goes to show too like how fragile and how powerful belief is and how much control they have like over the mind, right? Because uh um if man they can get people to believe and do some very crazy things simply because that's what they've been around all their lives. Like an American, like a white guy might kill me if I burn can't kill me, but like would be might have been upset or tried to kill someone else, like if they tried to burn a flag, right? And a Russian might do the same for a Russian one. Um, and the only reason that they're not doing it for vice versa is because they were simply born into a land where the indoctrination that they receive is different. It's similar to like the Nazis, right? Like if you like the nationalism and everything, like there was like because I've been watching like documentaries about Hitler and things and stuff, and like they always talk about how on all of the streets in Nazi Germany all you would see is like flags everywhere, and it's like that's America today, right? Like it's the same thing. And then it's like we still receive indoctrination, and it's like, but you know it again, it's all like how they make you see things, right? I could say that and people might try to disagree with me, but it is like the way they make you see things. Like for instance, gangs. What are the like? Can you name me like what would you say are the most dangerous gangs in America?
When I hear gangs, dude, I just think Crips and Bloods.
Crips and
I mean,
Bloods.
that's like
Yeah.
those are the two that you know.
Because
I just
when they have debacles, like innocent people sometimes get killed.
that's it.
Right.
Yeah,
What about
I mean,
right? And what about the white gangs? Do you know of any white gangs?
KKK.
Okay, you know
is
what? I had
probably-
that same thought, and I was like, "Where are the white gangs?" And then I realized, oh, the white gangs exist, but they've got so much power and control that they've made us not look at them as gangs, right? Because when Bloods and Crips have turf disputes, we know a couple people may die here and there. But when and it's not just white gangs, but like for America, it's white, but like you got China and things like that. But when white people have turf disputes, right, in China and other countries, but in America, when the white people have turf disputes, like you guys drop nuclear bombs on each other, bro. Like Bloods and Crips can't do that. Like if a
Yeah.
like Bloods and Crips can't indoctrinate as many people as like America and China and Russia and Sudan and all of these places, because they just don't have that type of power, right? Like they've got so much power that they make you look at them like they're not what they are, and they tell you that like the baby gangs are the problems or the baby organizations and stuff like that. It's insane, bro. And it's like, you know what else? It's like, you know how the mob, like you see in movies, you pay the mob like a protection fee, so you don't get shaken down, and you're like, who are they protecting you from? And they're protecting, the protection fee is protecting you from them, right? And maybe sometimes other people, but that's the IRS, bro.
Yeah. You gotta pay what 25%.
No, because what happens when you stop paying? What happens when you stop paying the mob?
You go to jail.
No, what
Well,
happens?
that you no matter what, you pay him back.
Yeah, no, when you stop paying the mafia, like traditionally in television.
Oh, they fucking kill you.
or they get back, right? See, and America's too big for that, right? Like, so America's too big for that. However, they still do it, right? They still do it. If you get big enough, like if you traditionally and historically, what we've seen in society, and the society that has the most power, right? They will traditionally leave you alone, but the bigger you get, the more eyes and attention they have, because the more power you take from them and the less power they have, right? So traditionally, people who get larger than life or start to become larger than, or like really powerful, traditionally they tend to ostracize and kill. I'm gonna list out some names, and you tell me if they have anything in common. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Mahatma Gandhi, Jesus Christ, Andrew Tate, Donald Trump, right? That's a very unique, or that's a very like strange, or Elon Musk even, right? That's a crazy list of names to have all of those names grouped together. But you know what they all have in common, right? All of them were very powerful people that existed and operated outside of their powers that be, and all of these men sort of, well, not all of them lead people away, but they do kind of lead you away from traditional practices, right? And a lot of them have been harassed and are being harassed present day because they cannot be controlled, right? Like the same thing, Jesus Christ and Martin Luther King, their stories are very similar because it's the same rinse and repeat, right? The only difference is Jesus Christ or Martin Luther King's story hasn't had enough time to marinate to where they say that he can do astronomical things, like maybe he can fly to Neptune and back, or maybe he can turn barbecue into soap or something like that. You never know, right?
Yeah.
Because it hasn't had enough time to marinate through the ages. But another thing they had in common is they both died for the sins that their people committed, for the laws that their people broke against the powers that be, right? Martin Luther King said, "Hey, yo, don't do this." Martin Luther King wasn't necessarily breaking like written laws, but he was breaking social laws because he was hurting their pocket. The unwritten laws that they have are unwritten rules they want you to play by as well, right? But Jesus Christ was straight up telling his people like, no, like follow him. He like, but the thing is like, so like both of those men were like, neither one of those men would have been killed if their people weren't committing sins against the powers that were, if they weren't breaking laws at the time, if they weren't disrupting society, right? Because I believe sinning. This could be incorrect, but I believe sinning at the time was the breaking of Jewish law at that time, or the breaking of Roman law. So both of those men and Malcolm X, all well, actually, I don't know if Malcolm X so much because I think Malcolm X. I think the story goes that Malcolm X was killed from people inside of his organization. But then again, like we also don't know if anything that we're told is true at all. Like America could literally arrest you or Andrew Tate, right, and say that he was a sex
Yeah.
trafficker and put it all over television, and we would have no way to know if it's true or not. But because they've raised us to look at them as credible and reliable, they can show us whatever they want and we'll believe it because they made us like same way with parents. Like parents, like they raise you to look at them as credible and reliable. Whole time they're lying to your face. They tell you about Santa Claus, they tell you about the Easter Bunny, they tell you tooth fairies, and then they also sometimes regurgitate lies that they're told about like men who could do like walking and like have respawn tokens and things like that, but they're still lying to your face. And it's like a lot of times you don't even really know what you can and cannot believe, which is why I try to speak only in truth, right? Because the truth is you can't argue with truth, right? And I so often say like you guys often say like don't insult my beliefs so you have your own belief systems, right? But the thing about that is in order for a belief system to work, you have to believe in it, right? The moment people cease to believe in it, it doesn't work. But that's not how the truth works, right? The truth is going to be true regardless if you believe in it or not, right? Which is why I try only to speak in truth, because if you argue with truth, then you just look goofy, right? So I try only to speak things that are completely true. But yeah, so like it's just like it's deep. I could go on for like light years about that if I wanted to.
Well, look, so let's talk a little bit about your music then,
Hmm.
because I feel like that what we're going into plays pretty well. I will tell you that the first song, your first song, "Shut In,"
Right.
that's a banger, bro.
Thank
I
you.
like that song.
Duh.
I was in,
Nah.
I was listening to it, I was like, and I'm at
Nah.
work, and like, I'm in a fucking office, and I'm just like, all right, I like this shit. All right,
Nah.
all right. I was
Yeah.
very enjoyable. Obviously, I'm a nerd, so I also liked Vader because
That's
I'm a
crazy,
nerd.
man.
So it's,
Facts.
as soon as you throw, when I
Nah.
saw your list, I'm like, I really hope Vader's about Darth Vader. And as soon as I turn, I'm like, yes, all right,
Nah.
cool.
Yeah.
So, I guess I want to talk a little bit about like what goes into writing your music. I mean, 16 songs is a lot. This is what it was like 31 minutes a song. So, what went into and the album we're talking about is Burn Your Maps, right? So, talk a little bit about like all the work you put into that,
Yeah.
where you came up with the name, Burn Your Maps. Is that mean something to you, or is that kind of play into what you were kind of just talking about?
Yeah, nah, so it plays in exactly to it. And there's like double and triple entendres with it too, right? Because in the Christian Bible it says when God comes to earth, he's gonna smite us with like burning and flames and stuff like that, right? Which in it so like and you know how you guys have like your metaphors or whatever to like I'm gonna burn the world. Well, essentially like I'm telling people like to burn your maps, right? Because like the Bible or the Quran or the Constitution or like they're all like or whatever else you've been given, they're all people's guidelines to you on how to get through life, right? It's a map to life that they give you. And burn your maps, bro. Like y'all gotta get rid of those. Like get rid of like all of it because they're leading you into nothingness, right? Like they don't care about you. They're leading you simply for their own personal gain. They're not leading you to see you get better. They're not leading you to see you shine. They're not leading you to see you improve. They're not leading you to understand you. They're leading you to get them and to create a bigger gap of distance between them and you, which is why they push so hard for people to continue to play in their system in the life-size version of Monopoly that everybody is indoctrinated into playing. Well, not everybody, because there's cultures outside of the world, but most Americans can't see outside of that because they make you believe that the world is like that. Your perspective, like what you see, they make you feel that that's how the rest of the world is. Like a lot of people, I remember when I moved to Texas, I thought Texas was gonna have horses and shit like that when I was little, but like I thought it was gonna be like dirt roads. And I've heard people from New York tell me that like recently, and it's because that's what like we see on TV and what like because so yeah. But yeah, I mean, as far as what goes into it, so actually that project has 14 songs, but I do have 16 songs out. I dropped 2 singles after that. Think About Loving Forever, right? But Burn Your Maps was 14 tracks, and yeah, it's a 31-minute runtime. A whole bunch of different sounds. As far as what went into it, I just kind of was chilling. It just kind of came to me. I was talking to a guy here named C2 who helps. He's one of C2 or Sleazy World Go's business or Sleazy World Go's. I don't know if you guys know him. Sleazy's business partners. And he was like, he told me, or he's like, hey, drop something, bro. Let's see what's going on. Let's see let's see what's happening. So like, I've really like after we had that conversation, that's the time I started putting it together. And it really only took me like a couple of weeks. But like as you can tell, like it was very well done. It was very diverse, and it really just stemmed from me trying to like, how do I get you guys the truth in a way that is entertaining, and how do I also get in America people to understand each other, like for what we have going on. Like you talk about shut in, like I think that was the perfect lead in. Because it's kind of abrasive to people who like they go in, oh, it's rap music, niggas bringing choppers out, everybody catching bite, right? Like some people,
Yeah.
like people used to approach me and say things like oh, you're promoting violence, and I said, no, you gotta listen to what I'm saying. Niggas bringing choppers out, everybody catching bodies now, from the police to the robbers now, right? And then I was telling them at the time that like people created guns, now everybody's killing people, right? From the people who you're indoctrinated to look at as good guys to the people who you're told to look at as bad guys. Everybody's doing the same thing. They just make you look at it in different ways in order to help them get away with it, right? And then like, you know, at the end of the song, like it's just a crazy, and I do like, it's just a crazy project, bro. Like I honestly think it's like Grammy level. Like I don't know if that's a cocky thing to say, but just based off of like subject matter and just the cohesiveness, I honestly think like it's like, is that a, like you listen to it, is that a leap?
No, I mean, look, dude, you definitely have talent. Look, I'm a beats guy. Okay, so you have to reel me in pretty quick. And Shut In, I think, was like the best song you could have put
Yeah.
first for me.
Thank
Like it reeled me in, and then I started to listen to all the other tracks. So like, I think your lyrics are good. Do you make all your own beats, or do you
Nah.
have help with that?
So yeah, I credits to all of the producers, but Leaves did the first one. Like some of them, like it was a lot of like going on YouTube, then contacting people individually and be like, hey bro, can you move this tag, or can you do this, blah, blah, da 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 da. But then like as far as my engineers go, right, because a large part of music that a lot of people underrate, bro, you hear about rappers and producers. Engineers are literal, like if your favorite artist did not have an engineer, or they didn't engineer the track, but if there's no engineering done, like they would not sound anything like they do. So shouts to my nigga Rob the engineer, bro. Shouts to my nigga Prod Bond. Shouts to Jewel. Shouts to Dennis, and shouts to Rocky, man, because they like, Jewel didn't help on the original project, but Von, Rob, Dennis, and Rocky did. Yeah, so shouts my nigga Rob the engineer, shouts my nigga Von, bro, like doing their things, and like make sure y'all show y'all engineers love, bro. Like, and shouts to Sharp, he did the graphic designs and stuff like that, bro. Make sure y'all show love to everybody who helps you with y'all stuff, bro. Like, man, it's serious. Like, show love.
And dude, there is so much that goes into audio editing, and I didn't know any of that shit until I started doing this. And like, I have the utmost respect for people that audio video edit, that like the magic that these fucking people can do
It's crazy.
with just like throwing shit in there. Like, I mean, I've had to learn because I haven't felt like fucking paying anybody. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing it myself, you know? And it's a really cool concept. It's a really cool quality to have when you're doing this stuff, because as you get better and better, you start to notice. Like, I'm pretty familiar now with all the tools that I use, and I can edit audio fucking fast as shit. And if you would have said that to me a year ago, actually my podcast, I'm about 2 weeks away from my 1 year anniversary, which I never even thought I'd.
Congratulatory.
I never thought I would
congratulations
have
are
made
in
it,
session. Man, that's a congratulations.
Episode a week for a year. I was doing 2 a week.
You know what's crazy though?
That shit was too much.
You know what's crazy though? My bad, not to take you off track, right? So something that I often focus on, right? Because I tell people one of the most important things in life is your focus, right? Because what you focus on is kind of what you, it's like praying, right? Like, you know, when you pray, like praying is almost like directed focus, right? So when you're subconsciously focusing, like when you're just thinking, you're like, I got to get this money or I got to get that, right? That becomes like what you start to attract or work towards. And I I say that because man, why did I say that? You said you had just reached your 1 year anniversary. Oh, right. So if there's one thing that I wish if there's one thing that COVID should have taught us all, should have taught you all, is and one thing that I try to focus on is all of this stuff that we think is real and all of this stuff that we have on the outside could be gone and taken away in an instant. Right. And it's like when you have that knowledge, like Lil Wayne once said, it's not about what you walk away from, it's about what you walk away with. Right. So when you walk away with that knowledge, how do you use it? Right. So I understand it's like all of this stuff is fake. The whole system, all of it, the money, the toys, the cars, it's all fabricated. So it's like, what's real? Right. So then I shifted my focus to try and like oh, inside of myself, right? This was a time where everyone was going through like spirituality and astrological, right? Because we had time to finally slow down and smell the fucking roses. Like Andre 3000 had it right the whole time. He said, lean a little bit closer, you see the roses really smell like doo-doo, right? And remember, like they say, wake up and smell the coffee, or wake up and smell the flowers or the roses. We finally got a chance to smell the roses and said, this shit stinks, right? This shit stinks. We had enough time to sit and marinate because we were finally living in a more realistic and a more real world where people were actually in somewhat control of their lives and not being pushed by Uncle Sam, which is ironic because they use that power and control that they have to force everyone, to force us all, to force you all indoors. And that's what got people to smell how bad their shit stunk and was like, this isn't real life, right? So one thing that
I will tell you, COVID, by the way, before you go into this,
right.
I've never enjoyed something so much because I got to work from home.
Right.
My fiance, her job, they had to shut down. It was part.
It also shows how powerless man is when nature decides to play its hand, right? So it's also it should be a very humbling experience. It should be a very humbling experience for you all to show you that like you shouldn't teeter with nature, but I guess that wasn't really humanity teetering with nature, but it just shows like how. But man like was resilient, but it was regardless. That being said, so I shifted my focus and I was like, I recognize it's like, so many people, the things that they have, their joys in life come from things that exist outside of them. Money, cars, clothes, fame, girls, boys, this, that, YouTube, podcasts, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever, right? And it's like that stuff can be like you never know, like there's no guarantee that it exists 200 years from now, calendars even, right? And they didn't always exist either, right? So it's like, what do you do? And it's like I started focusing like on if you are able to find things within yourself to make you that fulfill those same needs, or if you're able to find things within your like to figure out how to create those feelings within yourself, right? Like that can't be taken from you, right? Like people can take worldly possessions from you, but they can't take you from you once you find yourself, right? Which is why like they don't allow you to find yourself, because when you start to find yourself, you start thinking and asking questions like Martin Luther King, like Jesus Christ, like Donald Trump, like Andrew Tate, right? Like those individuals. So that's why when you're indoctrinated into their systems, like one thing that all of these countries have in common, these gangs, these organizations, these monopolies globally, one thing they all have in common when it comes to their schooling is they force they take away your individuality in a way, kind of. They take away your freedom. They try to take away your critical thinking. They try to take away any chance for you to speak out against their regimes or what they have going on, and they try to doctor and force you to see life the way that they want you to, right? So for instance, like, you guys think the president in America is a very important person. If aliens came to this bitch today, they wouldn't know the difference between Joe Biden and Charlie Sheen, right? They wouldn't. They wouldn't know the difference, right? But and no one would from North Korea would either, because they're not indoctrinated into the American system, right? So they tell you who's important and who's praiseworthy, and they tell you who's not important and praiseworthy. And I recognize this because I recognize the way that I used to be treated in ways that, like, I still recognize in ways that a president is treated as more essential than myself, and I'm God, right? As more essential than myself, when it's these people are nowhere near as important or vital to this actual operation as I am, right? But it's difficult for people to see and understand that, because you see life the way that it's been forced upon you all, right? You see what they want you to see, not what's actually sitting right in front of your faces.
Hey, this is Ron. Do you like movies?
Hey, this is Ragnar. Y'all like alcohol?
Hey guys, this is Stu. Do you like punishments?
Hey, this is Goop. Do you like cinephiles?
Hey everybody, I'm Chase. Do you guys like alcohol poisoning?
If you like all of that, then check us out at Barrel Age Flicks. We're on Apple, Spotify, and all the other platforms out there.
Yeah, and listen, like what you do with your music and how, like, you know, you can hear you inject yourself into everything, right? I feel like for me, my podcast is kind of this, like, for me, it's the same thing in that I'm not one of these people, and I've never been like a say yes person. So, like, for me, and the whole reason why I started the podcast was that so that I could have my own voice, and that I can also have people come in, not be judged by actions or words. Like, you could talk, and I'm not gonna, I don't judge anybody, dude. I've interviewed fucking everybody. I would never judge anybody by what they say, because I want this to be a safe space for people. And at the same time, I don't want society to look down on them, or I don't want all these preconceived notions that we have now. I want people to be able to have a discussion, right? And I also, for me, it's about leaving a legacy. Like, yeah, maybe podcasts might not be around in 2 years, or 200 years, but maybe videos of this will be.
Possible.
And maybe I won't go into
There's no guarantee, though.
The
There's
unknown.
No guarantee. That's the thing,
No.
right? There's no guarantees with that. Like, as irrational as it sounds, like, but it's still rational as well. Like, a meteorite or a cataclysmic, catastrophic event could happen in 2 seconds. It could happen right now, right? Like, at any moment, like, everything outside of yourself can, like, disappear or fade away. COVID taught us that, right? So, like, that's the truth as it stands. So I think
Rip Mamba.
Kobe.
Yeah,
I
dude,
still
I'm
talk
a big
to bro.
basketball guy.
See,
bro.
like, that's another thing about perspective. Bro. Oh, you see the OKC, bro? You see that's the flag, OKC right there, and then, you know,
I'm a Sixers guy, man.
Yeah.
Born and raised.
Hey, shouts
I was a
my
Hooper.
nigga Russ, bro. Russell Westbrook's finally getting his fucking respect. Like, shouts to Russ, bro. Like, I've been trying to tell him, like, stay off my nigga, like, bro, like. Shouts to Russ. I'm very happy to see you're finally getting your fucking flowers, bro. Like, these niggas, happy to see it, bro. Happy to see it.
Dude, I was a baller till I tore my ACL, man. The moment I tore I
nice,
went
man.
to go.
I think I'm nice.
They used to call me Steve Nash because
Did they?
I'd grow my hair out to my shoulders and I'd wear the fucking headband, bro. And I would throw no look passes. And
I think I'm better than
I really
average.
enjoy basketball.
I think I'm above average. Like, I feel like I don't think I'm the greatest, but I'm not the worst, right? I feel like if I was on the court with, like, NBA players, I'm pretty sure I could hold my own. I've hoped against some pretty high level people, but, like, I'm not saying that, like, I would dominate, right? I'm not saying, but, like, I don't think I would be lost if I was on the court with, like, a LeBron or a Russ or a Paul George or, like, or a Kevin Durant. Like, I don't think I would be lost. Like, And like even I was gonna say I don't think I would stand out, but I probably would stand out because it's me, and they'd be like, "Who's this guy?" But like even still, like I don't think I would be lost. Like I think I would like I think I'm decent enough to at least be bothersome, especially on defense. I think I'm decent enough to like be bothersome, right? And like depending on like who was there, if it was like a smaller guard or something like that. I mean, I am 6'2", 225, and like I do got a vicious post game because I was like when I first started hooping, I was like a lot chunkier, so like my post game is nice too. So like I'm not like so with that weight advantage, I probably could like body like people like Dennis Schroeder. Maybe I don't know how strong he is. I've never hooped against him or like an NBA player of like that high caliber. But I don't think I'd be lost out there on the court. Like I think I'm decent enough to like I don't think anybody would have a field day, right? But then again, I've never hooped against a Kyrie or a Paul George, but I don't think they would have a field day. I don't think they're just gonna get buckets on me, right? And I don't like, but they could, right? I've never hooped, but I'm just saying, like me knowing me and how athletic I was then, like when I was like damn near, oh yeah, I used to weigh damn near 300 pounds around COVID time, and then like by
Damn, bro.
yeah 6'2", 300, but I was still athletic. I was still running full. I started hooping at 17, but I was still running like full court. I was still running full court games for like 4 hours, 4 hours at a time, bro. No water, and like 6'3", 300. And then that was a while ago though. Then at like around COVID time, I was around 300. And then a couple months into it, I was at like 240. Now I'm at 225, and it's like yeah.
What made you lose the weight, man?
I just felt like it. Like one day I was like, all right. I was watching The Office, and you remember? Have you seen The Office?
I fucking love The Office.
You remember Joe
yeah.
Bennett was writing her book, and Jim switched it up to mess with Gabe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
so like I was watching it, and around this time, like I was really feeling the world around me, right? Like music felt like it was meant for me, and like I was watching The Office one day, and Joe Bennett, like Gabe was reading the thing, and Joe was like, when he doctored it, it said how people can doctor information like AI, how AI can doctor voices now. They'll never like you. You're too fat. They'll never like you. And this was when I was like recognizing that I was God, and I was like, fuck, whatever. And then just naturally that shit came off. I was still smoking and eating whatever I wanted to, but like yeah. And it's like I was athletic as fuck. Then. And I haven't even had a chance to test out this motherfucking Maserati yet, but like I've been training it, right? So I'm saying like I don't think I would be lost on the court with these people. Like I think I would be able to like I don't think no one's getting buckets on me. Like this could be delusional confidence, right? But like you can clearly tell I'm talented in everything that I do. So like I don't think I'd be lost, and I don't think nobody's getting no buckets on me like that. But then again, like the best.
Kyrie's handle's on another level though, bro. I don't know. I mean,
my lateral quickness and ask anybody who's ever hooped with me when I was like chunkier, heavier. My lateral quickness and reaction time has always been fucking superb. Niggas used to be like, "You're so agile for someone your size, bro." Your footstep, like now I'm 6'2", I'm 225. I'm off 75 pounds, and I still be like, don't get it twisted. I still be like. I still be putting in work, and I still be doing because real hoopers stay ready, right? Like you never know when you're gonna be in the presence of like real hoopers stay ready. So I'm not gonna be lost, right? Like I might not always get to the gym and be able to like put up shots and nothing like that, but I still like make sure that I'm still in the, I still box, and I do like, and I get it like, so you feel me? Like in my car, like I'm just saying like Kyrie do got, and that's what I'm saying. Like I want to experience it. Life is about this. Because I'm just saying, I don't think he's doing me. Like I'm telling you, I be looking when I watch. Like I'm so detailed in everything that I do, and I be looking at it and I'm like, I be like, bro, he can't guard him. I'm like, bro, they don't know how to play defense. A lot of them, bro. But I've never played against him, so I probably could go out there and get my ass busted, right? I could. Like that's still a real possibility. It's Schrodinger's cat.
that's life though, right?
Yeah.
That's life though. Is getting your ankles fucking broken
Don't
and knowing like,
don't
oh
do that,
shit.
like- but the thing is it's like I like to have fun, but like the thing is it's like don't make it a competition, because the moment you make it a competition and I have a reason to try, like even if it's like, and I don't foresee this happening, like I don't think that I would ever be lost, right? But let's say hypothetically that happened, right? Like even if I didn't get them back in that game, I would get my get back, right? Because it's like don't FAFO is what FAFO, fuck around and find out is what I be telling people. Like don't wake this killer in anything, bro. I'm talking about anything in general, like in life in general, not just basketball or whatever. Don't wake. I got a killer inside me. Don't wake it up. And like people who are
Dude,
deep, man.
I'll tell you this, right? I'll tell you this. It was the one time I underestimated an opponent. I was balling. We were playing 5-on-5, and on the other team there was this chick, and she was like, she had a nice shot, whatever. And we weren't playing on 10-foot rims. They were probably 9.5 feet, and like I was playing great defense, whatever. And I kind of obviously for me, and this you gotta remember, this was like 20 years ago, right? Yeah. So. I'm like, oh, she's a girl. Like, I'm going to take it a little easy on her. This bitch fucking dunked on me. And I was like, okay, lesson learned. I will never underestimate whether they're a fucking male, female, whatever. I will never underestimate an opponent. Man, and I learned that lesson hard, bro, because my friends still bring it up. Like, hey, remember that time you got fucking dunked on? I'm like, shut the fuck up, man. You know, like, but I feel like it's lessons like that you just have to fucking learn. Like, I didn't know she was going to dunk on me. This bitch came out of, she like, not windmilled it, but like, she kind of brought it back.
That's crazy.
And I was like,
damn, she hit you with the LeBron Mahawk?
Dude,
man, that's crazy.
It wasn't a good point in my defensive career playing ball, but I learned a lesson that day.
That's why I
don't
tell
give a fuck if you're a girl or not.
For me, I tell people in general, like for me, it's an equal playing field for everybody, right? But not just on the court at all times, right? Because too many people think life is a competition, so I always got to be ready. So like I put everybody on an equal playing field, and I will respond to their tendencies. I will respond to their reactions. I will not like, so I don't approach old people as old people. I don't approach PhD scholars as smart people. I don't approach like I don't approach people who are diagnosed with autism or other mental illnesses as that, right? Which is like something that people find it amazing the way that people who have these diagnoses interact with me because so I think because I see them like as the same baseline level, I treat them different, so they respond and react to me different, right? Because it's like you said, like you gotta be ready, bro. You gotta be ready at all times. So it's like if you're on the court with me, then I'm like, I don't care if you're 2 years old or 20 years old. If you're on the court with me and you look coherent enough to where you know what you're doing and you can get around, right? Like if we're in that element, like if you like, I might go easy on it here and there, but if I see you trying to try me, like I'm gonna turn it up. Right, like I'm not gonna let like cause you little or older or younger or smaller or a girl. Like if I see you trying to pull that dog out of me, this dog gonna start barking. It's gonna start barking. Like that's what it is, and it's like all walks of life.
I've had that happen to me too, though. So as a short white dude, so I was 5'4", 5'5", people would look at me like, oh, okay, this guy can't play. And the first time I throw a fucking behind the back pass to somebody who's wide open, they're like, I wasn't expecting that shit. So like, it kind of plays both ways. But I do the same thing now. Like, you know, the problem is I'm a super competitive person in everything I fucking do. Like if I'm in competing, I'm fucking winning, man. I'm not gonna cheat, but I'm gonna do whatever I damn. And even if I know that I'm inferior or my team's inferior, you know, in size or whatever, right? I'm still going to fucking play and shed blood and tears.
Those are some of my favorite games that I've ever played is like when I just get like ragtag teams like off of it and like, because when I get to lead, like because sometimes you get with people like hoopers who know how to hoop, like they can play basketball, but they don't know basketball, right? They're like, but their talent, like, but it's like they don't know. So it's like with people like that, like it's difficult. It was difficult to like lead a little more because that's my play style, especially at that time, wasn't as aggressive offensively or whatever. Like I still had like little nickety knacks that I was working out, but I still was crazy efficient and whatnot, right? But so like those ones where those players know that like they can dribble and they're good enough, but they recognize like, all right, bro, like we recognize we're not you, so like do what you do and we'll do what we'll do. Those are like the teams like where like I remember like where I was sometimes like hoping against my homies where I'm on those underestimated teams, right? And we beat them. Those were some of my favorite games. Where I'm at like Happy Rock Park and I get me like these random white guys that no one wanted to play with and they tried to kick bro off the court and I pulled them together. Nigga, gamer in bro's face, Splash Town, nigga. I'm telling you, like those are some of my and I'm talking like bro, I be getting the team involved, pass the ball to bro. Hey, shoot that, bro. Bro, hey, keep shooting it, bro. Swish. Hey, hey, pass that right. Hey, swing that. And they do it because like we're in communication, cohesive unit, bro. Like I'm telling you, and I get nigga, nigga, Splash Town. Like, I'm telling you, like, and it's like, I don't like, at the time, my like shot wasn't like the craziest, but like, niggas know, like, my clutch gene, like, I hit them shits when I needed to, but I'm telling you, like, now, like, it's a different, like, I don't know if it's a different story all the way, but it's like, I know, like, I'm like, I continue to get better at everything I do. So, like, where I'm at now compared to where I was then, it's a totally different space.
Yeah, see, for me like I play point, so like for me, I always tried to think one step ahead of both my team and the people who are playing against us.
Facts.
So a lot of times, I like either the people are wide open or they're just totally missing the ball when I pass to them, because a lot of what I do is like misconception, right? Like if I'm looking this way, but I see a guy streaking this way and his defender's not paying attention, that's an easy no-look pass layup, right? But if you're playing that ragtag, sometimes people don't expect it, because when you're playing street ball, a lot of times people are just out there to fucking shoot, right? I'd much rather kick a mean pass and have somebody have an easy shot or an open shot than take a contested shot. I could probably, like now, like where I'm at now, like I'm not as athletic as I was.
Right.
So like my shot is what I would go last summer. I would go every day for like 40 minutes, and I would go and I would just put my headphones in and just shoot. I would probably throw the ball up 500 times before I would go back to work, sweat my ass off. So I know my shot is legit. Like I have a decent shot. It's just I can't move as fast as I used to, you know? Especially, dude, once you tear an ACL, man, it's like, I don't wish that on my worst enemy. It's fucking awful. It's repaired, but it's never the same. It's never the same.
You know what I like to do? You know what I like to do? I like to, like, for everything that exists outside of us, I try to find ways to, like, rationalize it inside of us as well, right? So it's like, there's some things like, you tend to have, like, I guess the moral of that story is you tend to have more say so over your internal circumstances than you do your external circumstances, right? Because you can't really like control if you have an ACL injury, or like you couldn't control that injury at the time, right? So your speed suffered, right? But your internal speed doesn't have to change or slow. Like your mental speed, like, bro, like kick it up. Like you can like kick this up, like kick it up is like as fast as you can go, and like don't slow down. Like just like, because I tell people so often that all the time, like it's so crazy that that so many people can't see, or that so many people have had a difficult time saying what's going on in front of them and in the world, because all you have to do is your mind just has to be active, right? It doesn't have to be like active on like, oh no, the world is the world a conspiracy. It just has to be active. All you have to do is use it, right? And so to me, it's like baffling the amount of people. It's like, how do you not actually use your mind? Like, do you not think? Do you not like? So and I'm starting, because one thing that I've realized is like I'm different than a lot of people in a lot of ways, right? Like my baseline, my things that are no more normal to me, things that I can do, the way I reflect in society and the world is different than other people, right? Like same thing with like Trump and Jesus and Martin Luther King, the things they could do were different than things others. So like our base, but they knew, but like, so our baseline isn't the same baseline everybody else operates at, right? So I recognize that I don't think people use their minds as much as they could, which is partially like man kind of numbs people's brains too by like filling it with like senseless information. They beat so many belief systems into like, in order for America and the world and the globe to work as it does, you have to believe in it, right? Like America doesn't exist unless you believe, right? Countries, continents, states don't exist unless you believe in it, right? That's why they spend so much time beating that information into you, right? Because the planet or the globe's not gonna, when you cross from Texas to Oklahoma, the globe doesn't say congratulations, right? Your GPS will, because that's man, right? You don't get happy birthdays. You don't get like the day-night cycle isn't 24 hours, or isn't that same everywhere else in Antarctica or in other places, right? There's no such thing as a 7-day week, because days are an advent of man, right? Like if you go outside of human civilization, right, let alone the planet or the universe, into the universe, right? Like a human calendar means nothing to them, right? But it means everything to you guys and everyone else in society, because it's been forced and indoctrinated into you. And granted, they have great uses like for scheduling and things like that, but it forces you to look at life in a way that like makes you not be able to see, like it takes away perspective, right? Like they force perspective on you. Therefore, when you're seeing something from a forced perspective, you lose the ability to see perspective.
Well, I mean, I couldn't agree any more with you when it comes to perspectives. And for me, we'll talk about my mental age, but like as I've experienced the world, and I've had troubles and successes and failures, and I failed a lot. I mean, you're gonna fail a lot. That's kind of how it is. For me, it's just I think I value things now way differently than I did in my 20s, because when you're in your 20s, I feel like you're not looking.
But see, that's what I mean.
future
Like
as
that's
much.
the indoctrination speaking too. The fact that you guys even register and classify people, your teens, your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, because part of the reason is that too is it's like when you figure out how old people are, the way you treat them changes as well, because you've been programmed like a specific input has been placed into you to respond to certain stimuli or things in a certain way. Same thing you would do to an AI or to a robot. Like when it runs into a certain set of, or to a certain code or to a certain set of circumstances, respond in this way, right? So you find out someone's 18, 20, 16, 37, 70, 80, and the way you treat them changes slightly, right? Which is a terrible thing, because you have no clue like what limitations you're now putting on them, or you may not take some things they say as seriously anymore, or you may think that you're smarter than them or you know better than them, because that's the way that like you've been able to look at yourself in society, right? And like people get titles like parents as well and teachers, and they don't realize that they're literally attempting to control or manipulate another being's life simply because society has empowered them to do so, right? Like you can't cut your hair, or you can cut your hair, or you can't do this, or you can't do that, or you can't go to the bathroom here, or I don't know, like there's so many. You're not allowed to collect rainwater from the sky, or all it like it's, I don't know, man. Like there's just, but yeah, the indoctrination speaks, and it ripples in throughout everything you guys do, and it's like it's not frustrating, but it ripples throughout like, it's like so visibly clear for me. And like that's another reason why I'd be frustrated when I be speaking. I be telling people like, bro, like I know, like, okay, I'm God, right? And it's like everyone asks me what that means. It's like when you listen to me speak, it should be very apparent what it means. Like when I tell you I'm God, like you may have doubts at first, but after you've listened to me speak for a moment, it should become abundantly clear that you're speaking with God, right? And the thing about that is it's like, like it's bothersome, because it's like I feel like, and I guess everything moves at its own pace, but like, and so I guess I've been getting ready, and like, but it's like I don't know, bro. Like I feel like you guys wouldn't have as many complaints if like people would just stop talking and like listen. But so many people like want to be right about everything, or a lot of people are also forced to fight for their indoctrination or fight for the belief systems that they have, because that's what they've been taught to do. So like I guess fighting like to get like that type of like external platform, or needing that external platform. But another thing about it is my understanding that because that stuff is not real, like I'm for certain that like there's because I already as I go out, like people are naturally gravitate towards me. So I'm sure in a very real way, like that, like even as I'm sure I'll gain that platform externally as well. Like it looks like it's growing, but even in a very real way, like even if it didn't exist, I'm sure there would be like a globalization of this, because my energy is just too prevalent and too big. So, and I'm just like too smart. Like I just know too much, and it's clear as I'm God. It's like simplest explanation. There you go.
Well, look, dude, you you're unique in that you have a different. You're outside the box.
Oh yeah,
right?
I speak truth. It's like. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that that's important.
You
yeah,
can,
I mean,
but yeah.
You can, but yeah, I mean, look, here's my thing. I think that you can feel the emotion you put into your music, based on your lyrics, the things you say, and I think that's a great thing. And hopefully, as you start to move up the ladder, your message won't change. You're not gonna change who you are, right? You're gonna stick to.
I've been the same person forever, and that's been like one of my greatest weapons, is being who I am forever. Because one thing, so like here's how I can show you guys that there's like a real life world and there's like the Monopoly version, right? So like one thing about music that helps people with music is relatability and experience, right? A lot of people don't relate to Drake because Drake is like one of the most popular people on the planet. He's one of the like, and with that is a different level of social currency and wealth and respect and whatnot. Excuse me, but there's also a target on his back, right? And people and celebrities and famous people in general, like people realize that if they say this person's name or if they speak on this person or about this person, people will give them attention. So they make livings off of people's name, right? So I relate to Drake's music because I'm a real life. Like if you take away every definition of celebrity that you've been given, right? Like in reality, because I'm God, because my energy, right? Like everywhere I go, like so I can relate to everything he says because like I've had people like put my being into speak on my being and say that this happened or that happened, right? And people reacted how they reacted, but over time, like people started, they're like, bro, he's the same now as he was back then. And then they think about it and he's like, well, he's the same back then as he was now. And he's like, he's never changed. So wait a minute, like, since if he's never changed, then da da da, like, then what these people or what's going on here clearly has got to be something because this is the most consistent I've ever like if consistency was if there was a picture of consistency it would be God, right? Because I just continue to yeah, like it's the consistency in who I am, right? So I don't remember what put us on that, but oh yeah, so I don't I don't change, right? Like I just get more efficient, but like who I am
you stay
remains.
true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you stay true
Because
to
the truth doesn't alter, the truth doesn't change. Like that's what I tell people all the time. Like you guys have been taught about facts and stuff. You guys have been taught about facts, and you're taught like you're really quick. You're taught that facts are like structural truths, and the fact of the matter is facts are not structural truths. They're man-made. The only thing that's structurally true is true, right? I was gonna say this earlier, right? I said this earlier. In order for a belief system to work, you have to believe in it, but the truth will remain true regardless. And one of the examples I use, right, about facts being able to be doctored is it was a fact. It was a fact Pluto was a planet, right? But then man updated that, and it was no longer a fact, right? But the structural truth of that whole situation is that classifying Pluto as a planet did nothing to change its structural integrity or its fundamental relationship with existence. It didn't do anything to change its orbit. It didn't do anything to change the way it exists, right? That's the truth, right? That is the truth. So things that are true cannot be argued with, right? But like, so that's what I try to tell. That's why I speak in truth. Like, you can't argue with anything that I say. That's why I stay true, because like the truth doesn't falter. The truth will remain true. But the thing about the truth, it also flows, right? Because life evolves and flows over time. Right now, it's true that that thing that we recognize as the sun, that giant nuclear fusion reactor in the sky, right? Because everything above physical land is technically the sky. We're just on a rock floating through space. It's just the higher up, the further out you go, the less things gravity is pulling towards it. So we're in outer space right now, right? So it's true that the thing that giant nuclear fusion reactor that we recognize it as today, it exists, right? That's a structural truth. It's structurally true, but it's also structurally true based off of human observation and what we've been able to compile over time. That's not always going to be a structural truth because it's going to burn out eventually, right? But it is still a structural truth that it exists right now, right? Like those are things that cannot be argued with.
Look, man, this has been a great interview. We're hitting the end, but I don't want to end this. Mm-hmm. I don't want to end this without you telling everybody where the fuck they can find your content.
Man, really follow me on Instagram for sure. My Instagram is KNOW. It's God. We'll probably have links, obviously. Check out my YouTube channel. Like my YouTube channel is God. I got shorts. I got my music up there. I got more content and stuff coming up. Follow me on TikTok. On TikTok, I'm a little bit more like I explain like things about life or quirky things to you that like will help you guys understand and help you burn those maps that you've been given and help you reclaim your mental real estate that America and your other governing bodies have forcefully stolen or taken from you or forcefully occupied, just like they did with the land outside of yourself. So it's God on TikTok, and then my Twitter or my X is underscore witness power Yeah, those are my socials. But yeah, Instagram for sure. You know it's God.
Awesome, man. Well, look, it was a
And my
pleasure
music
having you on.
It's streaming on all platforms.
Yeah, dude, listen to this guy's music. I'm shut in. You got to listen to it. It's the first one on the fucking album.
Crazy.
It's a banger. Check it out. My podcast is Drink O'Clock Pod on all socials. You can find the podcast literally anywhere. Odds are I'll probably have this up next week or the week after, so we'll be pretty close. But dude, it was great having you on.
Thank
And look, yeah, you have a great night and keep your fucking positive attitude, man. It's infectious.
Thank you very much.
All right, man. You have a great night.
Out of here.